Okay, so if you didn't see my last videos, here's a little refresher of what the log cabin looked like right before I tore it down. Um, the new pictures I'm going to show, I did not videotape myself assembling the cabin. I wish I would have because it was probably quite entertaining. Um, so I just wanted to point out how dirty the logs look. 150 years of dirt and dust. Um, Raccoon poop in the attic, bat pee on the logs, you name it, it was in there. So pressure washed all the logs, and this is what I came up with. Now, I'm building on a concrete slab, so on the bottom I've put green treated boards, and because the foundation was not built level, the cabin was sitting on, I spent 2 days dry stacking the logs first. I dry stacked the corners, took some measurements, made some adjustments. This bottom log here, I cut flat, so it would sit flat on there. Cut it in half. Got all my four corners about the same height, so everything was close to as level as possible. You're going to want to do that, otherwise your roof is going to be crooked. So what I did was stack these corners, and as you can see in the picture, my logs are all tagged. I just went off of that, and then I braced them up with 2x4s so they wouldn't move, because once you stack them, they'll move around a little bit. Let me show you the next picture here. This day, I actually got some help. My neighbor up north where my property is, he came over. He thought it looked like fun, so he came over one day and kept coming over every day until we got the cabin stacked. It took about 5 days for him and I to do this, which wasn't really horrible. I mean, we had to fight a little bit with the top logs there. It was a little pain. We had to lift up a little bit. We got it to work. Now, remember in the previous video, this is where the roof leaked, and this open area here, all those logs were rotten. So I just came up with a floor plan, and basically I'm going to leave this open, and I'm going to build an addition. But now all these logs here, they're all rotten. They all rotted away. They weren't usable, so I took some of the logs that were on the top second story or half story, and I cut my own dovetail joints. Did those all myself, and cut them so where my opening's going to be. And this is all rough right now. I got to cut my windows and door openings yet, so this is just stacking it rough. But keep this corner in mind, because I want to show you something in the next couple pictures. See how that corner isn't perfectly straight while you're building it? Well, this is why you want these braces, and you want to put wood in between, because as you're building it, the cabin's going to wiggle on you. They've got TV shows out there that show how simple it is to build an old log cabin, and they got 4 or 5 guys, and they get it up in 1 or 2 days, and they make it look easy. Well, let me tell you, it's not as easy as it looks on TV. But somebody would have told me, it would have took me 2 weekends to straighten out those corners, make sure they're all square. Might have changed my mind about this, but once I got into it, I made it work, and I got everything nice and square. Now, in the old photos, or the photo of the old log cabin, when I bought this cabin, I wanted to do something creative, so I was going to take an old 1850s log cabin and modernize it. You wouldn't see this in an old log cabin, but this opening, there's going to be a patio door. I have 3 big windows, overlooking the back of the lot. So it should look pretty nice. And as you can see in the photos, I pressure washed the logs. They came pretty clean. They're a little weathered, but once I stain them, the color's going to pop right out. Here's the boom truck. Just drove back up there. We're setting the back 28-foot log. Here's the front. Set the front 28-foot log on top. This is going to be my door opening. I'm going to take a chainsaw and cut a window. And once again, this is my opening for the addition. Okay. And once again, it's coming along. You can see what I did here. I just wanted to point this out. Your logs will move. You can see the cabin bowing outwards. So I used that to brace things up. So as I was stacking the logs, didn't want the logs rolling over. I actually had one corner fall apart on me as I was building. It wasn't fun because somebody could have got hurt. So that's one thing you always got to watch out for. I'm trying to think of anything else I can tell you about this. Let me tell you, while you're building, if you can see I've got some of my wood for my door openings and window openings. If you can get those in place right away, that's key, because that's going to add strength right away. But take your time. Make sure all your logs are positioned right. And as you can see, this corner sticks out this way. I had to take a sledgehammer and kind of knock everything straight, get it into place, brace some stuff up, and I got it straight. This is what I'm talking about. Remember that other photo of the logs, the corner bowed out? It took me about all day to do all four corners. I got this all nice and straight. I measured everything up. Once I nailed my boards in place here for my window openings and my door openings, this all tightened up and straightened up the way I wanted it to. Now you can kind of see here. I don't know if I mentioned. It took. Oh yeah, I did. It took me and my buddy about 5 days to stack this. Took 2 more weekends to straighten up the corners, and then I started cutting the windows and doors. The fun part about building a log cabin like this and modernizing it or customizing it, being creative, do whatever you want, is if you want to put a window in, all you do is you take a chainsaw and you cut a hole and then frame it up. It was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed it. And my pictures are out of order. Now, as far as being creative, these were my floor joists that I had took out. One of the first videos I told you I used a 2-ton car jack and a 2x4 to get them out. I noticed the floor was a little spongy, so what I did was I took these logs, and these were actually the logs that were in the floor on the first floor. I took those, I put them on the second floor, notched them out, set them in place. There's actually a center beam going across the middle of the cabin. And put my floor joists over the top of them. And they got really strong, really stiff. Now I got a nice strong floor. And it's going to add, I don't know what you would say, add beauty to the living room. We've seen the nice beefy logs going across there. Fireplace will go right here. Here's another photo of it. There's my center log that I told you about and put across the middle of the cabin. It's got some temporary braces there. And you can see my window that I cut out. Just took a chainsaw, took my measurements of the window I'm putting in, framed it up, and There's my boom again. I'm actually putting one of the upper floor beams in. And you can see in the background I've got a stringer for my staircase. I just wanted an idea of where the steps were going to go, so just got to tack that in place. Aside from that, I said got all my logs tagged. I've got everything pressure washed. This all takes time. You just take your time, and you got somebody to help you once in a while. You can do this. You can do it by yourself. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.